Okay, I'm gonna share the most difficult thing that I haven't really shared with anybody before, and I don't really talk about it, and it'll probably be easier to get it out because I'm talking to my laptop and not to a real person, and so they'll make it a lot easier to talk about it and get it, just say it and just get it out. Haven't been able to talk to anybody, therapists, anybody at all, and so maybe talking to my laptop will help and just get it all out. I'm just gonna talk about my rape and get it out. I was 15 years old. It was September 16th. I came home from school. I was doing my history homework on my bed. I was kind of laying across my stomach and just kind of just on the phone. I was actually talking to a friend when this happened. And we're talking on the phone trying to figure it out because it was honors history. And, which I love history. I still do to this day. And it's one of my favorite things in the world is history. I love doing family history. And, I just love it to death. But I was doing history, and there was, well, we called her family. She was a very close friend of my mom, and we called her my aunt, which she really wasn't my aunt. My mom was an only child, but we called her my aunt, and she also lived next door, and so she just got out of a halfway house, and my mom was helping her get back on her feet. They worked together, and in the halfway house she met this other guy that was supposed to be getting a job, and he was 18, and he was going to school, and he was attending my high school, and he was a senior, and he was a senior at my school, and so he would break a lot of laws. But I was a sophomore. I was 15. So I kept my mouth shut and just let things happen. I later got my revenge in some ways, but he would come over and just hang out and play video games and watch TV and everything else and wait for her to come home, and he'd hang out at her place. Well, he was supposed to be looking for a job, and he'd have to call and do check-ins, supposedly because it's after school. He's supposed to be looking for a job, and so he'd call and say, yeah, and give him the number and just say it was a payphone. It was calling from the same payphone, but it was actually our house phone. And one day I was just doing my homework, and there's nobody else there, and he was, it was just the normal thing that he would be out there just doing his video games and stuff, and I was doing my homework. And next thing I know, he came in and he grabbed me and flipped me over. I had the phone in my hand, and with his knees on each of my legs, and holding my hands above my head. He managed to get my pants down and he raped me. At one point I was able to get one hand free and beat him over the head with the phone. But I still lost. I feel like I still lost. Got in a few whacks, but I still lost. He made me take a shower. And he threatened me. He told me if I told anybody, you know, the normal, if you tell anybody I'd hurt you and hurt your family and da 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 da. And so I kind of let it go. Just bottled it up. Dealt with it. So I thought I was dealing with it. And how it all came out was I couldn't take it anymore and I tried to kill myself. I overdosed. But I still didn't tell him why. I still didn't tell anybody why I tried to kill myself. I just tried it. And then one day I couldn't do it anymore and I went to the school officer and I told her and told her why, and then he came back and he threatened me when he found out. And so when I went into the police station for an interview, I told him I lied. But the officer knew I was lying. And he told he told my mom that I had 6 months. This is what the laws were then. 6 months to come back and press charges. But I was too scared to do so. I never did go back and press charges. I got my revenge because he was breaking the law on his probation. He was claiming he was taking a class in wrestling, which he wasn't. And so I made an anonymous phone call. And I called him and I told him, well, this phone number is our house phone number. And he is not in this wrestling class. And da 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 da. And I was actually, the cool part was I was actually a teacher's aide in the main office, a student aide, as a class. And they called and checked up. And they talked to the secretary and she asked her, can you look up this student's name and see if he has this class set up at this hour? And I knew he didn't, but I couldn't say, oh no, I know he doesn't. But I did what I was supposed to. I looked up. It wasn't, I did what I was supposed to do. Pulled up the schedule, looked back. No, he doesn't. And so he got sent back to jail for breaking his probation for 6 months. So he got 6 months, from what I understand, for breaking his probation, and I hadn't seen him since. But I still have to live with the pain every day. I've heard people say they never heard anybody say they regret testifying, but they've heard people regret not. And I honestly gotta say, I regret not. I regret not taking him all the way to jail and having him put on the sexual offender list so he can not hurt anybody else, and I hope he never does. And for legal reasons. I don't want it coming back to kick me in the butt. I'm not going to give his name out. Well, I understand he's living in Idaho. Very common name, so I can't really say it. So, anyway, yeah, that's my story. Hopefully it helps somebody through their pain. That was back 20 years. September 16th would be 20 years. You always live it. It never goes away. You just have to learn to live with it. Yeah. Anyway, that's my story about my rape.